So every time news, announcements, things happen, there's like a ripple through the community of whatever the topic is. And, I think the reason people have such a hard time stomaching and dealing with these things is because it comes down to change. And it's because that everybody goes through change in their life, their personal life, their family life, their job, their income, and where they're located. And historically, everybody has such a negative defense mechanism with change because we know we've all been around the block. We know when we hear change or announcement, historically, it's always like, oh God, what now? What the fuck is it? What? Because we all have that automatic defense mechanism because we know historically when things change, it's usually for the worse. It's the way life is. But of course, whatever company you work for, when they instill a new policy or they want to enforce something new, oh, no. This is something benefiting the company. Or when a company restructures a platform, whether it's an eBay and Amazon or something you care dearly about, a trading card game or a video game, or an update or a patch or anything. Usually it's just like, oh, what now? What are you nerfing now? What are you ban? What is it now? And people are automatically defensive and upset. And quite frankly, I think people have the right to be. Because we've all been burned. We know it. We've been around the block. And, when Pokemon does things, like reprints Roaring Skies and does these releases and things, the community gets wound up. You always have some people happy and some people upset. It creates a divide. As with everything in this world, everything's divided, right? Everything's just shitty and volatile, and people are upset. Nobody has an open mind. Everybody hates each other. You know how the world is. And I think it's the funny part about it is we all have the same common denominator on what makes us upset about it. And the only reason people are upset when something's reprinted or something happens or a company changes or backs out or says something is because we all care about it. It's important to us. It's something that we've been around a long time and it means something. So people get upset because this is something that we actually give a shit about. And I think we all lose sight of a lot of this at times. There just has to be that point in the world where you realize that they're just not going to make things like they used to be. It's just not going to happen. And it's very difficult for everybody. For me, collectors, the scum of all earth, investors, store owners, distributors, manufacturers. It's difficult for everybody to accept that across the board. Doesn't matter where you are on this chain of an economy, everybody's linked and everybody goes through the same emotional roller coaster. And the thing is, we all have the same intentions and the same end goal. But the problem is, we all want it a different way. So today, I wasn't going to make a video about the Primal Clash reprint after I did my fun, crazy video with the Roaring Skies reprint. But I wanted to do a non-rant, more of a meaning of life Rudy, and just kind of reach through the camera with everybody and just kind of tickle you a little bit, just kind of poke you around a little bit, just enough to give you guys a little bit of tingles and just to feel slightly inappropriate and slightly kind of taken advantage of. And I just wanted to focus this video on change, and Pokemon is very clearly saying something. And they are very clearly stating that because of the nature of the game, the growth of the game, the demand of the product, things are changing. And the Roaring Skies, everybody thought was a fluke. It was just, it got cut off early because of generations and different things happen, which is fine. I agree because a lot of that is true. But I think it shows a bigger picture. And that bigger picture is that things are shifting in the collectible world, specifically with the old Poke de la Mom. And I think it's something that we all have to come to terms with. Whether or not you're happy about it, or you're unhappy about it, or you're pissed because everything that the company says now has no credibility. You can't take anything they say seriously. But there is a point in your life, my life, and everybody watches that we all have to realize that, as with many things in the past, we have to accept when you clearly can't invest in a product moving forward. You clearly can't accept anything that the company publicly releases as an announcement. And I think with Pokemon, we're there. We've reached our destination. We're no longer recalculating. We are there. And it is what it is. I'm not really angry about it as I was worked up with the Roaring Skies, because I'm kind of happy. Because just like Roaring Skies, I never had any Roaring Skies booster boxes, and now I have 236 booster boxes, factory sealed, that I'm sitting on, and I paid in the mid to high 70s for booster boxes. I'm going to wait a couple years for it to rotate out, all the cards to tank in value, and most stores to have to free up their capital, and everyone's going to move on, and I'm hoping to be the last guy in the back corner going, all right, finally, it's my time. And now, they're going to the next set, Primal Clash. People now are saying, oh, next could be Furious Fist. Oh, next is going to be Ancient Origins. Oh, I don't know what's going to be next. Nobody does. And the thing I do know that is going to be next, there's only one fact I can guarantee everybody watching this. And that's the fact that Pokemon is going to be doing this very frequently. We're doing a double tap right now, ladies and gents. We're doing a double tap. We're talking in a couple months, double tap. We nailed one set with Roaring on a reprint, and I don't know if they're reprinting Primal Clash. I don't know if they're releasing more stock from a warehouse. I don't know. It's been very gray area about this compared to Roaring Skies when there was multiple waves and there was a lot more. It was very specific, a reprint. This time, I don't know, it feels a little different. And after talking with a lot of other store owners, doing a lot of text messaging, and talking to some distributors and talking to those people's stores and their distributors, I can confirm that it doesn't seem to be as many boxes as a Roaring Sky, but I can also tell you that all the distributors are being very firm and want a slightly higher price point. Not just the ones I work with, but it's across the board, which tells me it's not the distributor. It tells me it's either in the memo or the press release that the distributors received higher up, or it's just something the distributors see as an easy way to have a fatter profit margin. Either way, it's out of my control. It's out of every other store's control in the country. It's not something I'm bitter over. It's not something I'm excited over. But it's something I am officially coming to terms with. And that is the fact that, as with many fallen angels before, you have to accept that there's times that some things you can't sit on the product. You can't invest in the product. You can't expect it to go up in value. These aren't the days of WotC Pokemon. These aren't the days of the, early to mid 2000s when everybody thought Pokemon was dead and Magic was going to die. And, this is the new resurgence wave of all these collectible card games in the tabletop industry. And it's just something that we all have to come to terms with. And I'm going to drill that in this video because myself and everybody else, we're all having a hard time accepting the change of direction that's happening. And I'm focusing on Pokemon, but I really want to touch a little bit on the tangent because Magic's the same way. They are treating, and managing the game differently than they did 5 and 10 years ago. Very differently than 10, 15 years ago. And it's probably because you have different people at work, you have different motives, you have different things up the chain of command. There's a lot of variables. But, they're going to reprint a lot of sets. It's a permanent thing. It's official. It's not a flash in the pan. It wasn't a fluke with Roaring Skies. It's just something that's going to be done. And that's something that everybody has to consider moving forward. When Ancient Origins just went out of print. Oh, God, do you guys have any boxes left over? Hurry up and keep some. They're out of print. They're going to start moving up. And they did. But now, the people who have them left, and the people who may have bought them last minute, or the stores that may have a couple cases of, 20, 30 Ancient Origins. And they're like, oh, cool. Ancient Origins went from 90 a box on eBay to 120, 130. Let's wait for it to go to 200, then sell our inventory. Can't do it anymore. It's done. Because whatever the reasoning on what's happening with the Pokemon industry, it is clearly shifted. Because the behavior has not been done before. There's been no track record. There's been no pattern. There's just been no proof of what they're doing. And now it is a distinctive, different feel. And it is here to stay. And this is my personal opinion. I am just, Rudy, everybody wants to know. So, shut up with the rambling. Are you buying Primal Clash or what? I'll buy a few. I might buy a couple cases. I might do a flash sale for Patreon for the $85 range or something like I normally do. I may keep them. I don't know. But as of right now, I'm not going to buy many of them, especially at a higher price point. It's not even a highly demanded set. It's just a symbolic move of what's happening. in a lot of things. And, the only time's going to tell them the next 5, 10 years whether or not this was a mistake or this was a good idea to do. There's no way to know. My personal opinion, the fact that credibility is completely shattered across the board from everybody. It's going to affect everybody in the market. If you collect Pokemon single cards, if you try to get all the full arts, the ultra rares, secret rares, whatever you try to do, your behavior is going to be different now that you know that no matter how new or old something is within so many years, it is reprintable. It is re-releasable. No matter your term, no matter how they're actually doing it, it is now something that carries, as we like to call, a risk premium. So we're going to shift a little bit into a generic story time now, and the point is, you have to add the risk premium if you're going to be an investor in this product, if you're going to be a store owner, or if you want to carry this product. This is no longer something you can feel comfortable carrying a lot of inventory for the long term. This is no longer something that is going to be looked at as, okay, if I want to put $5,000 or $10,000 in Primal Clash booster boxes, okay, well, what kind of return am I looking for? What is something I'm comfortable with? Because now, if it was 10%, that's great. But now you can't really consider those returns. You have to recalculate how you want to do your risk reward because the risk premium has shifted. There is an additional layer of risk slivered in the middle. And because of that, the formula has to be recalculated. And, it just reminds me of a lot of things because years ago, it's so funny when you talk about the evil investors that sleep underneath the streets and in the sewer system every night, that invest in cardboard and make everybody unhappy, and they have those horns on their head. The thing it reminds me of is the most difficult conversations I've ever had to do. And the most difficult conversations in the industry are not wrapped around, Rudy, what should I invest in? Rudy, what's the hot thing? Rudy, should I get a haircut? Rudy, what do we eat for dinner? The difficult thing is trying to talk to people when shit hits the fan. It's trying to talk to the person who's been a fan of yours or a friend of yours for a long period of time, and they're sitting on $5,000 in Eternal Masters, and they paid $260 a box, and now their $5,000 is worth $3,100 or $2,800 after fees. Those are the conversations that are difficult that don't get discussed in the public eye. There's no view of that. Those conversations are the behind closed doors. Those are the nasty, gritty truth. And you don't see any videos on the internet about that. You will never find YouTube videos on the internet, besides maybe Homeless Rudy, talking about investing gone wrong. People don't talk about their losses. Little Timmy is going to buy 1,000 scratch-off tickets, and he's going to tell you every time out of that 1,000 he wins $5. But guess what? He's not going to tell you about the 990 tickets he lost $5 on, because it's human psyche. It's the psychology of the game. And the hardest conversations are the people who get tangled in these situations and contact me or contact a buy list for a big store or contact some big company wanting to unload the position, trying to accept and swallow that pill that they're going to lose half their money. They bought into Roaring Skies at $150 a box. Rudy, it was the best move I ever made. Roaring Skies went to $300. I made thousands. And they were like, I'm going to wait for it to go to $400 a box. And then they just got slaughtered. And, now they're just sitting there. They're in the fetal position. They never want to touch Pokemon again. The mindset's different. And now that individual is no longer going to be pumping in, $10,000, $20,000? So, some people in this video are going to comment and say, good! F them all, right in the face. They're going to whip it out and just slap it across their face and say, good riddance, you got what you deserve. And that's cool, too. It's like the people who watch me because they're curious and I'm an entertaining, crazy person, but they don't like me. That's cool too. The point of it is, these are things that go on. Whether you like it or not, whether you like watching some weirdo on the internet like me, that's not what these videos are about. The videos are about trying to show you all, and I'm trying to, I try to recap this phrase every at least 20 videos. I want people to see other perspectives. I want people to be informed of the conversations that are going on out there between stores, distributors, individuals, investors, and players that don't get the attention that they deserve to get. And this is a perfect time to just reline that across everyone's face and slap it across everyone's balls. Because at the end of the day, hands down, I've been forgetting lately, sorry, you have to accept when things have shifted and things have changed. in the Poke de la Mom industry. Pokemon has changed. Pokemon is handling things differently. I'm not saying it's going to come to an end. I'm not saying they're going to die and all that crap, because that's a load of garbage. We all know it. I am saying, moving forward, we are in, it feels like to me, almost like a new era similar to Return to Ravnica forward with Magic. And for me, it is a game changer. This time around, I'm not going to buy a lot of Primal Clash boxes. Again, I'll buy some, just so I can actually have some in inventory. But overall, I don't like it. And for me, I am going to pull back. You're probably not going to see like all the new GX boxes and things like that. I don't think I may be buying them anymore. I may just buy a few of each. But as far as buying hundreds of every collection box and things like that, that's it. I appreciate it. Thanks for playing. I hope you all enjoyed the video. There is a gift bag on the way out. And I hope you all enjoyed your stay. Tell me what you all think in the comment section. It's just a matter of perspective. And we need to accept that this is the new normal. It's just, I can just see it. You know, and it's just something we're all going to continue to drift to. And it's just something the way the industry is going to continue to go to. And we all have to just move on with our life.